Welcome to the Side Hustle Dad, the podcast for fathers who are creating financial freedom without sacrificing their families. I'm Brian Steele, and on this show, we're covering the mindset, strategies, and tactics of a profitable side hustle. Let's get to work. Hey, welcome back. I am glad you're here joining me today. Today, we're going to be talking about something I think is really interesting that I think trips people up a lot of times. There's often a desire to go try and grab anybody and everybody, which I get. I understand that at the beginning of your side hustle journey, you want to just try to grab anybody who's going to pay you $1 to do what you do. You want every customer that comes your way because you're trying to achieve those goals. You're trying to get that benefit of that extra income. And that makes sense. You're ambitious, and I love that. But here's the problem. If you try to speak to everyone, you end up speaking to no one. There's a maxim in marketing that says if you try to appeal to everyone, you end up appealing to nobody. So what we're going to talk about today is an ideal client profile. ICP, ideal customer profile, an avatar. This is the model in which we use to really clearly understand who it is we are selling to and why. And just because you develop this, I want to throw this caveat out, doesn't mean that other people that come along that don't necessarily look like this, you can't sell to them just because they are not this ICP. You use it so that you're more targeted and more specific on exactly why somebody is going to work with you. So it's very clear the benefit because you understand who it is you are trying to speak to. There will be other people that come along that kind of get caught up in the wake of what you're doing and see the benefit and will still say yes, but you're a little less scattered. You're a little less unfocused, okay? We're just trying to make sure we're working in the right rooms, getting in front of the right people. We're trying to narrow our focus. I mean, you've only got a few hours, right? We've got a limited amount of time to make this the most efficient. So we wanted to focus on those people that we are the best at helping. Whether it's a product or service, we want to be reaching the right people. And then that's going to allow you to continue being present with your family, getting time with them. And what's amazing is when you do this, when you get really narrowly focused on exactly who it is and why you can help them, it suddenly becomes like, well, why should I work with you? And they hear the benefit and it becomes the meme that says, shut up and take my money. Give me that now. I want what you're offering. Because now you really, really understand exactly who it is you're helping and why. So that is the main thing. When we get narrow, when we get focused, there's this inverse relationship. It's almost like our selling power is more effective. So instead of wasting our time trying to get in front of anybody that might give us a buck, we really try to think through clearly who it is we can specifically reach. You can cast a net there that's wider because in some cases you maybe don't know what this ideal client looks like, what this ideal customer looks like quite yet. You may be experimenting a little bit. The goal is not necessarily to lock you into something, but it's to take information that we've got from other places, who it is we think we're helping, and then use that as a filter to go forward, who it is we're really trying to reach. Does not mean it's permanent. So if you're struggling to get traction for an extended period of time, again, experiments are good, but we don't necessarily want to jump out of them too quickly. But if it's not working, it's okay to change. Okay, well, maybe I'm not reaching the right person. Let's look at that. Let's think about that a little more. So you can always come back and revisit this concept down the road. So when we're thinking about an ideal client, we automatically go to a demographics approach. That's our nature. We start thinking gender, age, household income, location. That's natural. And sometimes that gives us a good idea. This podcast, right? An ideal person is a dad who wants to have a side hustle business, right? Some of that is demographic. Okay, male, father, and probably married. Maybe not though. There's definitely single fathers out there. So, but that's a framework So we've got some demographics, and some demographics are fine, but it really doesn't tell us a lot other than maybe who you'd try to target in an ad campaign, right? It doesn't move you. It's not clearly getting at the purpose behind things. So what we like to do, or what I would recommend doing, is what's called the 5 whys. Let's say you have a service. You ask why 5 times, okay? And we start getting deeper into layers. So let's say you're a business consultant. Let's say you're an operational business consultant, right? You come in, you fix processes. You help businesses improve their processes, and you're a consultant. Somebody hires you and they're paying $1,000 a month on a retainer, and you do a few hours of work for them a week. That all seems reasonable, right? But how you get to be in the right place in front of the right person in a way that motivates them to reach out to you is a bit trickier. So we go to the whys. Okay, so there's a business owner who wants a consultant. Why do they want a consultant? They want to fix their workflow. Okay, why do they want to fix their workflow? They need to save 10 hours a week. We're getting somewhere now. So we know they need to save 10 hours a week. Why do they need to save 10 hours a week? To stop working late. Why do they need to save 10 hours a week? To stop working late. They've been staying an extra 3 or 4 hours on Thursday, Friday to close out things. Why is it so important that they stop working late? Because they want to be the one who puts their kids to bed at night. Okay, now we've taken this business concept, this idea of a consultant that comes and helps me run my business, and we've transformed that into something that is visceral. We've taken that and said, okay, they want to put their kids to bed. We are a business that solves the problems that allow you to be available for your family so that the business works without you. We're the consultant who helps the business work without you, so you put the kids to bed. Maybe you're a web developer. Same thing. Okay, why do they want a new website? Somebody says they want a new website. Why do they want a new website? Well, they need more leads. Okay, why do they need more leads? Because they need to grow revenue by 30% in the next 3 months, or they have to lay off some of their staff. Oh, okay. So now you're able to connect to things, and you can go layers deeper. So sometimes after a few whys, you start to get in there. So when you're trying to figure out this ideal client profile, you need to push deeper and deeper. You have to get past the initial business problem and find the human one. You want to find the person who's exhausted, who feels incapable of solving whatever problem they've got. If the problem might be, let's go to a construction example. Let's say you do decks, outdoor patios. Oh, okay. Outdoor patios. Yep, we use the best stonework. We use this and that and the other, and we're so good at that. Not necessarily going to move the needle. Let's start asking why. So somebody wants an outdoor living space. They want a fire pit. Let's say they want an outdoor grill built in, those sorts of things. You can get the demographics. Okay, well, this is the household income. They need to have a house that's this expensive. These neighborhoods are where I'm targeting. Demographics. Let's go to the whys. Why do they want an outdoor living space? Well, they like to, have family and friends over. Why do they like to have family and friends over? Because they get the opportunity to serve other people. Okay, why do they like that? Because they're passionate about community. Okay, why are they passionate about community? Because every time they get on their phone, they feel polarization and they're frustrated by that, and they want to do something about it, maybe just with the few people that they have influence over, because it gives them a little semblance of control in a chaotic world. Wow. Okay, if that's why, They want an outdoor living space, outdoor patio. Like that, we've taken something that we think is just transactional, but we're communicating that we understand them. We're able to speak to that specific person when we say, this is my ideal client. This is who I want to help. And you start to put language and messaging around that and all of the things you do, the stuff you share on social media. You're going to start putting pictures of your living spaces with 30 people there, laughing and having a good time with their tiki torches up and everything. Because now you understand your ideal client in a different way. And when you uncover that emotion, whether it's the pain they're feeling or the aspiration that they see, you speak a different language. No longer do they see you as just like it's price X from him and price Y from this other guy and price Z from this other company. You are now communicating, I get you. You're communicating beyond the transaction and you're communicating to a transformation. Ooh. That's amazing. That's a business that will get those people jumping at work, wanting to work with you, at hiring you, at buying your products, at buying your services, because you're clearly able to connect to something that is human. And I think so often I think, and maybe it's in an age of AI because there's all the funnels and the email campaigns and ads that we're just constantly bombarded with offering us this product and this thing, that we want somebody who really sees us and understands us as a person. And maybe that's what makes that so much more effective. So being human, really understanding the human piece is so critical. And the 5 whys is how you get there. Continue to dive deeper. And don't be afraid of it. Again, this is all a framework. This is a filter that we're going to look at everything through. Now, because you understand the who, you understand the demographics, because you understand how their actual life is better because of your products and services. Okay, well, now you're able to communicate a return on investment or an ROI. And sometimes I think people think of ROI, and it makes sense. It's like dollars, right? If you do this service, we guarantee X numbers of things going up. And sometimes it works very tangibly, and it's very obvious. You can measure it easily. Your income went up X%. Your time to accomplish this task went down. There's some measurable things. But also, as we talked about with some of the whys, there's things that aren't measurable. And sometimes it could just be peace. You can't just show an ROI on a spreadsheet all the time. Like, it might just be peace. What is the dollars that they're spending buy them? Maybe they know that their mind is freed up. They don't have to think about something anymore. Maybe they're not worried about that being handled, or they're able to engage in a way that allows them joy. Joy is a hard thing to put a price tag on. But that might be the thing that you have to sell. That might be the thing you need to communicate, is that's what people experience. They experience ease, that you are walking with them through a process, that buying your product is going to provide them relief. Maybe you're selling like this amazing steak rub, right? Dry rubs for all my fans of cooking meats, smoking meats. Got some rubs to put on. And this is just spice, and you just have that joy. It's like just excites your taste buds. You're just feeling something different when you're eating food that you use that product on. Those things are what you have to communicate. That is an ROI. Even though it's not financial, it's an ROI. So don't get stuck in thinking about those things when you're thinking about your ideal clients and ideal customers. Think about the ROI in all aspects of someone's life. It's really how it comes across throughout their journey. So let's rewind a little bit. let's take a moment thinking about the ideal customer, the ideal client. Take 10 minutes, think about those things. Write down some demographics, some of those basics, and then start asking the why. Why is that person going to hire you? Maybe they've got a role and that's the right person to reach because they're the person who would hire you. But why? And then ask why and peel back those layers and understand. Why is it they would want your product, your service? And after you've got that nailed down, start to think about what is the return on investment for working with you and how does it speak into the various whys that they experience. So when you come up with your 30-second pitch, or you are putting together a social media post, or you are putting together a slide deck to pitch to people, investors maybe, what I recommend is you look at this. You get this nailed down. You understand this ideal client, and you speak to that person in whatever format it's taking. Speak to that person. Give them a name. May feel silly. I'm speaking to Fred, but that's incredibly valuable as far as giving you a razor sharp focus on who and why you're trying to help somebody. And I recommend that. You might not just do one. My starting point is just do one. Come up with one in the next couple days. Come up with your one ideal client, ICP. Come up with that one. You might have two or three. There might be a couple differences. And maybe you look at your existing clients and you go, actually, there's a couple different types of people that I work with here. So you might develop a few different ones in this regard. But that's what I recommend you do. That is the step I want you to take. Think about that ideal client and go from there. So great to have you here with me today. Looking forward to talking to you again real soon. Thanks for joining us today. If you enjoyed the show, there's 3 ways you can help us out. First, subscribe on whatever podcast app you're using. That makes sure you never miss another episode. Second, leave us a review so that other people know this is a show worth listening to. And finally, if you've already done those, tell a friend. So many people find their favorite podcast because somebody told them about it. Thanks again, and remember, build the side hustle, but be the dad.
This show is part of the ICT Podcast Network. For more information, visit ictpod.net.